Now, mind you, I put in a lawsuit for defamation of character, and let's go into the full spill of why I'm not guilty and why what happened shouldn't have happened. All right. Finish. Defendant Sean Perry, Esquire. Motion for acquittal is based on inaccurate charges, defamation of character, and defendant rights as a citizen of the United States of America and resident of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Defendant was charged with disorderly conduct and harassment based on plaintiff seeing defendant phone that had a background image of a naked person. Based on Pennsylvania's disorderly conduct statute, whether words or acts rise to the level of disorderly conduct hinges upon whether a person causes or unjustifiable risk of public disturbance. There was no public disturbance, in which instance, situation at locations, the hair salon and Michael's craft store, the public was not involved at all, but only individual. U.S. versus Malone, 822 F. That's just one of the cases. Not to mention, based upon Pennsylvania's disorderly conduct statute, it claims disorderly conduct is based off of words or acts. Defendant Sean Perry, no words and took no acts. Defendant cannot control what someone else sees. All defendant conversation and actions was based on the services of the business. If anything, defendant Sean Perry and had his privacy invaded versus based on Doe versus Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority, shows proof of my personal privacy being invaded, which is the crimes code of harassment when is the intent to harass or annoy and or alarm another person. There was no intent because that means that you had the you had the mindset to do so. Continuing course of conduct which occur in more than one jurisdiction, which in act occurred as evidence of a continuing pattern which occurs with some individual. So harassment is a continuing pattern, meaning you have intent and it's a continuing pattern. There was no continuing pattern. Now, based off of Pennsylvania's Code of Crime, harassment is intent. Intent means a state of mind where a person knows and desires the consequences of his or her act. There was no intent because there was me not desiring the consequences of being arrested and desiring the consequences of you seeing my picture and while I'm talking to you about services of the business. So there was no intent. Based on and that was based on Barron's Dictionary of Legal Terms. That's basically a certified dictionary that explains the definition of information of words and certain information. So that was where the information of intent come from. Types of intent exist at the time of offense is committed. All right. So intent means that at the time the offense was committed. So at the time the offense was committed, was there intentions? No, I had no intent to harass anyone. And that means, again, they desired the consequence. They had it planned prior. None of those things happened. So there was no intent. Because I'm coming to you talking about something you see myself on. Defendant did not have intent to harass and annoy or alarm the plaintiff. Intentions was the service of the business, as I said before. All right. Defendant had the image as a background of wallpaper prior to incident. Thus forth, there was no intent because it was the background of my wallpaper. Now, if it was a picture that just popped up, it would be one situation, but it was the wallpaper. Okay. All right, now, thus forth, let's see, defendant, thus forth, all right, PA 1947, property is defined as common law concept, the right of any person to possess, use, and enjoy. and another case to establish it is Wilcox versus Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Uh, so so basically that basically states that it was my personal property, which I have the right to enjoy it, and I had the right to place that on the background of my phone. Not to mention, harassment must be a continuing course of conduct which occurs in more than one jurisdiction or situation where the individual, one incident of a person seeing a situation, and if anything, it was an invasion of privacy. Uh, Southwestern versus transportation of authority. So basically, in a lump sum, with all that stated, that is, with all that stated, all right, there was no broken law. Why? Because all right, there was no harassment because it had to happen in more than one jurisdiction, meaning that I had to show this for each incident because this is an incident. Each case is a different incident. All right, in each incident, and there are two different situations, two different locations. All right, now you see my phone, I walk away. I don't know you from anywhere. You don't know me from anywhere. I don't know you. I never saw you before, and if I did, maybe walking past you, who knows? Okay, I don't know who the hell you are. You don't know who the hell I am. All right. So the fact that this situation happens is okay. How does this happen? Maybe you saw me, maybe at a grocery store 6 years ago. Maybe you saw me in school. Who the hell knows? I don't fucking know. You might have saw me riding down the street in a car. You might have saw me on the bus. Who knows? But the whole point is that this incident never happened. So for harassment would mean would mean in more than one jurisdiction, meaning it happened on a consistent basis. So that means that I showed you the phone one time, you said, no, leave me alone, I don't want to see your phone. Then 10 days later, I came back, showed the phone, None of those things happened. You saw me, I walked into your location, you saw my phone, I walked out, never saw you again. These are the things that happen. So how is that considered harassment? Yet these are forms and stuff that I filled out in citations that I literally sent in, lawsuits I really put into these people, and I'm still trying to get them to accept my lawsuits and citations and so on and so forth. All right. Now, mind you, all right, I put this stuff in while I was in jail. I was sending this stuff in while I was in jail, while I'm locked up. I'm telling these people, look, I'm not guilty, da 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 da. Now, mind you, all right, while telling these people I'm not guilty, all right, while telling these people I'm not guilty, all right, there's other situations going on, but I'll get into that. All right. I have the right to the freedom to express my enjoyment over my phone as a background/wallpaper without judgment of others. The problem in this case simply is an opinion, not a crime or a broken law. It is an opinion of what was thought of my phone, not that some vicious crime was being committed. Yet I spent months in jail on an opinion, not the fact that a vicious crime was committed. You didn't like what was on my phone. It wasn't the fact that I actually committed a crime. All right. If the image was a picture of Spider-Man or a president of the United States, would it be a problem? No. It just so happens to be a picture of the backside of a female dealing with another male, and it just so happens it was the African American male and a white girl. Well, I'm black, and hey, it just happens to be another female that was of a different race. But either way, and obviously the person that's complaining is Caucasian. But either so, all right, it just so happens that it was the picture of a person that was naked. So if it was Spider-Man, would you have a problem? No. If it was Batman, would you have a problem? If it was a picture of a car, no. But it was a picture. Your opinion is that you didn't like the picture. So what? I'm not breaking a law. I have the rights to these things. All right. I have the right to this type of content on my phone. What makes this situation worse is the police did not simply request for my phone background to be changed. I was simply arrested. They did not care about my rights as a citizen or that I did not commit a crime, nor did they care to give warning of the citation. It is not a crime to like sex or sexual image. Just because someone noticed such, that is over the age of 18 don't mean a crime is committed. All right, Dr. Johns Inc. versus Ville of Chiokia, 2018. That's another case that cites about, basically someone was, they had some information that was sexual and people didn't like it, but it was based on opinion and they had no rights. They had no rights to bother him because it was based on your opinion and not based on facts. Now, the law is based upon facts, factual evidence, facts that says, hey, this is this. Mere suspicion is not a crime. So just because you're suspicious, mind you, they were suspicious that, hey, he had this phone and he wanted sex with me. You were suspicious of that. That was suspicion. If you thought that, and granted, those were what they said in the scenario. But let's just say you thought that. That was your suspicion. I didn't say those things. So you were suspicious. Whatever made you suspicious or uncomfortable, you had no rights. I had no rights to be arrested because mere suspicion is not enough evidence to arrest someone just because you're suspicious. So I was arrested based upon illegitimate actions. Now, mind you, I put in lawsuits in regard to this. I put in all this information while being arrested. Mind you, I told you I was arrested in November 8th, 9th I was arrested. November 9th I was arrested until July 7th. Now, mind you, again, they had no rights to arrest me. These are the reasons for my acquittal. All right, reasons for acquittal. All right, I sent in a reason for acquittal on 4/3/21. All right. I also appealed my case, but request for dismissal. I request for dismissal on 4/3/21. Judge Finley lawsuit. I put in a lawsuit on Judge Finley. I'll explain to why Judge Finley had a lawsuit. 4/2/21. Michael's Craft Store. I put in a lawsuit. Judge Seaman lawsuit because obviously the case was about a nude picture, and they give me a judge named Seaman. Obviously, they're trying to badger me. It's badgering. It's badgering me because they gave me a judge named Seaman. But we'll get into that. My first judge for the case was named Seaman, and the Judge Seaman. We'll get into that later on. But whole point is the judge name was Seaman. They're badgering. Why would you give me my judge? That's my first when they sent me to court and said, hey, are we going to take this to trial? The judge name was Seaman. Or actually, when they decided, hey, are we going to take this to trial? Are we going to send this up as a criminal case? The judge name was Seaman. Very disrespectful for the situation. It was harassment and disrespectful because, the case was based on a nude picture and you give me a judge named Seaman. So, that's a lawsuit based on that, in which I filed a lawsuit in regards to that, as well as appealed. And Judge Seaman refused to recognize my appeal when they decided to send it up as a criminal case. And after it went to, because Judge Seaman was my magisterial court judge, and once she decided to send it up as a criminal court, I appealed the case, and they ignored my appeal to the criminal for it not to be a criminal case and for them to dismiss the charges. I appealed her action. That action was ignored, so I'm putting in a lawsuit on the basis of that. Not to mention they gave me a judge named Judge Seaman. Bucks County Regional Police lawsuit because of harassment, and I'm going to explain. They harassed me the whole time while I was walking down the street going places. So basically, the police officers were setting me up the whole time, in which I cannot necessarily I can basically explain how they were setting me up. They were harassing me all the time. I was inside of a location just shopping for clothes for my child, and I have a daughter, and I'm inside of a location shopping for clothes for my child, and the police come in and say, you can't be here, get out. I said, I'm not breaking any laws. I'm in here shopping for clothes. So what? The people want you out, get out. I didn't break any law, but this is what happened to me. They had no rights to kick me outside of the location. So I'm charging them for harassment. Not to mention, I'm walking to a grocery store one time. The police just stopped me like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm walking to the grocery store. Mind you, I just happen to be in an all Caucasian location. And And this is in Warrington, Pennsylvania. I just happen to be in an all Caucasian location, and I'm not basing it off upon race because I was harassed by African American police officers before too. But this is basically them. I'm basing this off of the Bucks County Regional Police Officers. Okay, plaintiff defamation of character. All right, lawsuit. I put in a lawsuit for defamation of character because they're destroying my name. I put in a lawsuit on the basis of the store's location because it's the basis of the business. The business represents the employees, as well as I put in a lawsuit on the plaintiff, defamation of character. Plaintiff want to destroy my name, and that's not fair. Appeal to magisterial court. They ignored my appeal, which was sent on 12/8/2020. My magisterial court case was, I believe, was like probably like the 1st of December, and or maybe it was the 7th of December, and I put in my appeal the next day on the 8th. So I put in my appeal on the 8th, the next day in December. Removal of detainer and alleviation of probation. I put in an appeal to have removal of detainer and alleviation of probation because they had no rights to detain me or and alleviate probation because my probation was over. So I put in an appeal for all those things to be removed. Lawsuit in Bucks County, intellectual infliction of emotional pain. I put in a lawsuit on Bucks County because it was infliction of emotional distress because of the fact that they gave me a judge named Judge Seaman. Not to mention they was refusing to acknowledge my lawsuits, and I'll get you more into that. And I put that in on 4/21. Okay. Mind you, I was still in jail. All this time I'm in jail. I'm putting in these lawsuits and so on and so forth. They're ignoring my lawsuits. I put in a notice again to show all the lawsuits that I put in, which was something like this, as well as a breakdown of the lawsuits again. I put in a notice in regards to that I was being ignored. All right. And I replied to their notice. Lawsuit of Bucks County Correctional Facility, because there was a few situations which I'll explain that happened in regards to lawsuit. Grounds for acquittal. I put in my grounds for acquittal, the reasons for acquittal, which is basically the reasons that I just stated there. Notice of emotions request and documents in court should have on filing during such case. I put in a notice for documents that should have a notice in regards to the motions and the filings that are filed, and just to make sure that they knew what motions and what was filed, because for some reason they weren't responding, in which they should have responded, which I had the rights for them to respond to my request, but we'll get back to that.